Massive hit. Oh, they've clipped. Off. How he held on to that, I don't know. This is the biggest crash in RGL history. He's out of control and into the wall. Brace yourselves, this is going to be action-packed. Hi and welcome to the RGL Forza Championships for 2013. We've got the development series up round 4, another 6 rounds to go after this one, and for this particular round we are looking at using the El Camino, 1970 El Camino that is, 454. So this is an awesome ute, so we are going to do some ute racing this round, and the class is C. The original PI was 302 and the drivers are able to upgrade to 425, and provided they kept the aspiration at natural and the drive type at rear wheel. So from what we've heard, these things sound like absolute beasts, so having 14 of these on the grid all at once should make for some pretty exciting viewing. And we're at the Twin Ring Motegi East Circuit, and this track, after you get past turn 1, which is hard braking, and then moving into turns 2, 3, 4, 5 is rather tricky complex. You make one little mistake, overshoot, you lose a bucket load of time, so drivers will really have to get their rhythm going through that section. Then you move up into turn 6, which is another hard braking corner after a long straight, and then you head back up the hill around turns 7, 8, 9. Again, going through 8 and 9 is also a little bit tricky with the deviation, and then a couple more tight turns before you head back onto the main straight. So let's take a look now at what happened in qualifying. Some very fast times put out by all, and you can see just there is Gundam starting out in last place. So Twisty Corners has grabbed pole position by the narrowest of margins to Fear Bretley, so these two create a massive rivalry both in the V8s and the development series. And FCR Ninja also qualifying well under the 140 mark, followed by you watching Alcimo out of P5. And looking at the back end of the grid, as mentioned, we've got 14 drivers, again Relentless not able to make it to this round. And Go Hard leads the charge there out of these last 3 rows, with Catters and Gundam starting from the rear grid. They were unable to qualify due to technical difficulties, so they start from the rear end of the field. However, they would have probably qualified a lot higher than what they did. But we've got to roll with the punches, and we're about to get started now. 3 lights, let's get this ute racing going. Smoking it up as they get off the start there, and all punching up here at the back end. Gundam looking for a little bit of space in behind Catters. Oh, and a little bit of contact there between, I believe that was Jake Moe and one of the Queensland APRT boys, and Fear Bretley's got the jump on Twisty Corners into the first turn. And this is where we were talking about this very tricky complex now. If the drivers have gone for all-out speed, they will lose time through these sections. And of course, with some rather long straights, if they've got the power, as long as they can get through those tight sections, they should be able to maintain position. And I think there's a pretty big variety in that as we look through the field. But again, you see the qualifying was fairly close, and of course there was some rather slower times towards the back end of the grid. But when you think about how much these vehicles can be upgraded, on board with Twisty Corners right now, trying to look for a pass on Bretley. He's up on the inside, a little bit of a touch, and the tap, he's backed off a little bit. That was very wise there, as Fear Bretley managed to remain in control of his vehicle almost sideways, and Twisty's probably breathing a sigh of relief there. That's the last thing you'd really want to do, is gain a position after something like that. and I believe that's you watching, following closely behind. But as mentioned, yes, there's quite a lot of upgrades, options that can be looked at by all the drivers, from different tyre compounds through to more power, as mentioned, going for weight reduction, and still have them all with very close qualifying times. Pretty amazing. And heading into turn 1 now, Fia Bretley with the fastest lap of the race, no surprise there. And this is Scavenger here, making a move on Highboy for Taztec Motorsport. Scavenger for Screwdrivers Racing there, making the move. Can he get it to stick? He has. No. Highboy coming back at him there on the inside, and Elsimo looking to get a piece of the action. Scavenger trying to evade any contact, and he's managed to fall in behind Highboy again. So Highboy's defended his position. Elsimo was unable to capitalise on that as they head down the second of the long straights. And it looks as though Scavenger's got a little bit on Highboy, maybe a slightly better handling vehicle, as they're about to head back up the hill. And it was very disappointing that Catters was relegated to the back of the field. Understanding was that both the Screwdriver Racing utes were looking very strong in practice, and Scavenger obviously pretty high up at the moment in positions. He's normally been around the back end of the field, so starting to get his A game going as all the drivers file through, and a few into the pit lane already. And what an awesome shot here as all the vehicles fly past. And Gundam's actually got the jump on Pistol Fit there, who comes through at the back end of the grid. Of course, he's moved up a few positions because of drivers pitting. Fia Bretley with the next fastest lap, almost at qualifying pace already after 2 laps, on board with FCR Ninja for HD Motorsport. And that is another piece of news, with Gundam 27 joining FCR Ninja for HD Motorsport in Beshi's absence. Looks as though Beshi's not going to be competing this year. He's missed too many rounds, so Gundam files into them. We've got a bit of a replay. That's funny what's going on here. This is you watching going into the pit lane. Oh, and he's overshot it. Oh, he'll be very disappointed with that, absolutely spewing. At least he's managed not to make any contact there with no recoil, but he has lost a position and a bunch of time, and he will get penalised for that, unfortunately. But these vehicles are pretty heavy still, even if you do get a bit of weight reduction in there with your upgrades. So, little mistake. On board now, Catters in behind FCR Ninja, so Catters has made some ground and some positions. And just coming into second last turn on the tight left-hander for the hairpin final turn. And Catters also peeling off into the pit lane. Take it nice and easy, making sure he doesn't overshoot the mark. And this is Fia Bretley just there. Fia Bretley's just coming down the pit lane now. As Pistol Fit rolls on by, so Fia Bretley might get caught up with some of these back markers. Well, I shouldn't say back markers, but drivers that are yet to pit. And is he going to come out in front of Twisty? I think he's made it. Twisty did pit on lap 2, so he's actually probably gained a little bit of ground, although Twisty is ranging up a lot closer now. And under brakes, Twisty gaining a fair bunch of time, so both the front runners have pitted, and Fia Bretley's maintained his position, so Twisty Corner's looking for that undercut, and Bretley on the cold tyres sliding out, and Twisty's all over the back of him. Some more contact. He's letting him know he's there, so we'll try and make a bit of sense of this now as quite a few pit stops gone through. We've got no recoil in the lead, followed by Yuwatchin, as we saw before. Yuwatchin missing his pit stop entry. Highboy's moved up a bunch of spots as well, waiting yet to pit, and Elsimo hasn't changed. He did drop quite a few spots going into the first few turns, Meanwhile, a few others have gained quite a lot of spots, while others have dropped them due to pitting. And there's Twisty Corners on the leaderboard there in 9th, currently following Fibretley in 8th, and he's still got all the pressure on him. It seems to me that Twisty's got the more superior handling car, while Bretley's opted for the power, so he's got to use every trick in his book to keep that El Camino pointed in the right direction. As we saw a little bit of a slide out on after turn 2 after exiting on cold tyres, but those will have heated up a bit more by now, and you'll get a little bit more traction through the corners. And they're about to move on to lap 5, so approaching halfway mark of the race. And quite a lot of the drivers are opted to pit early in this one. Normally there's quite a lot of spread, but it looks as though the first 8 or so drivers have already pitted as they head under the Alpine Bridge through turn 2 and then 3. And here we see once again Twisty just being able to point that vehicle right where he wants it to. Meanwhile, Bretley struggles a little bit out onto the dirt. Twisty goes, but hasn't lost too much there. And look at that, Twisty gaining once again under brakes and looking for a way past, but I just don't think the vehicle's got enough guts. So he's really probably kicking himself now that he lost out in the drag down to turn 1 at the start of the race. He's lost track position on Bretley, and once you get past the faster car, the better handling car generally can win out and maintain its lead. Now we have both the drivers from Screwdriver Racing Garage at each other. Catters moving up to try and get past Scavenger here, looking for a way through, but Scavenger is holding on strong. No signs here of team orders by the look of that. Catters would have qualified ahead of Scavenger and is going a little bit faster at the moment, so I would have expected the team to tell Scavenger to let him pass, but he's not doing that, not at all. Fibretley into the 139s, a very quick time, and Catter's looking for a way on the outside. I don't think he's going to get there. Maybe looking for a little bit of crisscross, but not enough traction out of the corner. So a lot of close battles again, and look at the draft here that Catters has going deep under brakes around the outside. Is Scavenger going to let him through? No. He's trying everything at the moment, Catters, to make his way past. And look at this, right on the back, going for an inside dive here. Scavenger going wide, but Catters been cautious there, not opting to try and go for a late dive. I think he's looking for that opportunity that's 100% guaranteed of getting him a good pass, and still going around the outside. And here they are back on the main straight with Catters still not getting enough momentum, looking for a draft, going for another chance around the outside, maybe a crisscross, but Scavenger moves over to take a decent... Oh no, he's overshot it there. This has given Catters the move, and he's got through. It's taking a bit of time, but he's got past. Looking at the leaderboard there, 9394 Studios and Nelson O'Gunn taking the lead, the last two yet to pit. And we're currently watching Scavenger in 9th with Catters in 8th. Scatter's making some pretty big moves, coming from last position at the moment. It'll be interesting to see where Gundam slots in there. Back on board with Fear Bretley being chased by Twisty Corners. And I'm pretty sure Twisty Corners is sick of the sight of the Fear Racing El Camino in front of him. And Fear Bretley just as sick of having Twisty Corners fill in his rearview mirror over the last 7 laps. And now just heading into turn 11. And it seems that Fear Bretley's got just a little bit of a break here on Twisty, and he should be able to power away slightly down the main straight, so Twisty must have perhaps made a couple of mistakes through those tighter sections. Here's Elsimo coming out of the pit lane. Remember, he was in 4th position at one point there. Fear Bretley just improving slightly on his other fast lap. And Elsimo gets ahead of you watching, and here is one of the APRT Queensland drivers on Scavenger, and it's a bit of a crisscross. It's Gohard we're on board with. Scavenger maintaining his line into turn 2. Gohard going with him. Turn 3. Moving turn 4. Where's Scavenger there? Just on his side there. Oh, there's contact. Gohard is off into the sand trap. We might need to get a better angle of that, just see what happened. Looks as though he's tried to close the door on Scavenger, not realising he was there perhaps. And he's come out second best. Meanwhile, back in front on lap 8 with Fear Bretley still getting harassed by Twisty Corners. It's a great racing by these two drivers. Here we go, a little replay. So on board here with Gohard. There's Scavenger going into turn 3, and Gohard just looking to close out there. Scavenger right up alongside him, so I believe a bit of communications required there. Could have possibly avoided that contact. And coming up to the penultimate lap for round 4 of the development series. And just a quick word, next round we will see the WRX Impreza on Silverstone International Circuit. Looking forward to seeing that one. On board with Highboy now. Who I believe is being chased by ex-Catters as well. So he is on the warpath, this young gun from Screwdrivers Racing. And your watching's just ahead there of Highboy. So Yorkshire will be a little bit disappointed here. He was in 3rd, and then after a little bit of a mistake. Oh, Twisty on the inside. Can he get past now? Bit of contact. He couldn't get a smooth exit out, and Fear Bretley tears away. There was a big shot there to get the lead with so little time left. I don't think Twisty Corners will get another shot. It's taken this many laps to have another crack at it, but he's coming back at him again. More contact. And more contact. He just needs to be able to keep the momentum without making any contact with Fear Bretley, but there's not much room left on the track for him to go. That's racing for you, but that would have put some sweat on the brow of Fear Bretley just then. But he's done a very good job to defend his position. And Twisty Corners obviously making some big gains on that one. And here we go, he's only got 1 lap left. Can he do it? Or can Bretley hold on for another win? Looking for 2 wins in a row here. And to make some gains on Twisty Corners, and really without some of those corner cutting moments in earlier races, the fight for the championship will be a hell of a lot closer. But meanwhile, if Bretley can continue to win, he still stands a chance of catching Twisty by the end of the season. But who knows what lies ahead for all these drivers. Again, every round we move up a class, soon enough it'll be A, S, R3, R2 and then the R1s. That'll really test everyone's mettle as to how well they can handle the super fast cars. Could turn this competition on its head. Fia Bretley coming around the last few sets of turns up the hill and into turn 9 just at the moment, just stepping out a little bit. Good for a nice control, make sure he brings this car home, well this ute I should say. And just turn 11 to go. I can't see twisty corners taking this one away from the Fia Racing driver. A very measured performance. He's kept under cool the whole way, being challenged by Twisty, who's just doing a few burnouts to finish off the race. But a fantastic win to Fia Bretley there. Congratulations. A lot of pressure heaped on him. Oh, we've got a bit of a fight here on at the moment. Look at this high boy on the move on. You're watching didn't see this one coming and he didn't want this to happen. They're side by side going across the line, and I believe you watching's just managed to hold position and avoid losing another spot. Look at that, how close it was between those three drivers. Catters ranging up on high boy as well. That was a fantastic finish. Great racing with the utes. Very popular race category indeed, and Fia Bretley there with the win. And moving down, you can see there you're watching and Highboy, Catters, all within very small, just millimetres between them really. And Ninja was also looking to bite on that action had he been just a bit closer. And let's take a look at the championship standings. And as mentioned, Twisty Corner's well out in front at the moment. He's got an 82-point lead, but again that could change. One little slip up in a race and he could lose valuable points. Fia Bretley on the charge at the moment, and then you're watching and Recoil, pretty close proximity to each other there, fighting it out for third, and APRT Victoria leading the way in the constructors title. Thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you for round 5 in a few weeks time. Goodbye.